With project catalogs, you are setting the terms for your service. When you're using Upwork on a regular basis, most of the time the client sets the terms for you, and you are to follow those terms and meet the deadline. But with the project catalog, you are setting all of the terms, you are setting the deadline, and the client is just there for the final product. So this is a great way to create more opportunities for yourself. Usually on the project board that we are right now, if you go to find work, click this and you'll be brought to this page. Usually the client is setting the term. You can see he's setting the hourly rate, he's setting the time limit and all that. But with the project catalog, you are doing these things. So basically with project catalogs, you will be setting the price and the time. So you are going to tell the client, whoever comes to your profile, that I will take $100 for a sketch and I will take 2 weeks to do the sketch. And then the client can look at your terms and then decide to work with you. But with project catalogs, you're not going to be doing as much because the catalogs, you make them once, you put in all the information, and then they're just sitting on your profile for the clients to come. Usually on these jobs, you would have to search, write proposals for each one. But with project catalogs, you do them once and they're just going to be on your profile. And I highly recommend, apart from looking for jobs like this, that you create some project catalogs on your profile so you can create more opportunities for yourself. Let's go to our profile, and then we're going to scroll down to project catalog. Let's manage projects, and you can see build it once, earn again and again. So these project catalogs are just going to be there on your profile unless you delete them. You can see some examples here, 1,000-word article within 24 hours from $30. So this person right here is saying that I have set these terms. You can work with me if you'd like. And this gives the freelancer more freedom over how they manage their projects because they are setting the term. Let's create a project. And we're going to start with the basics and then the prices, gallery, requirements, description, and review. Let's give our project a title. Now you can see that I already have these set for me. You will get and I need to write something that I'm going to give. You will get mock-ups for your logo, for example. Try to make the title as fun and as optimistic as possible. Instead of saying you will get mock-up, try to be like you're going to get special mock-ups for your logo. I can go for minimalistic. Try to make the description, the title, as descriptive as possible. And that way when people search for minimalistic, they're going to get my project as well. So instead of writing you will get mock-ups, put in an adjective and try to describe your service more. Once you've written your title, let's scroll down to category. This is where you get to categorize your service. For me, it would be Photoshop editing. I can click it once and then I'm getting more items down here. But if you're not seeing your category, you can just hit this and look for the category that you are looking for. Then narrow it down to the specific service that you are providing. All right, I chose Photoshop editing. Let's look over here. So image editing type. This is optional. You don't have to choose it. And for me, none of these match what I'm doing, so I'm not going to select any of them. You can choose your file format. For me, it would be PNG, JPEG. You can choose multiple if you'd want. You can even give the Photoshop document. And then you want to type in your search tags. It does say optional, but I recommend filling this in because you're going to include the exact same tags that a potential client will be searching for. This way, the chances of your projects popping up in the search results will be higher. So for me, I can write mockup, and you want to press enter once you're finished. Mockup, Photoshop, editing, brand, logo. Those are my 5 tags. You cannot have more than 5. Once you're finished, save and continue. Now we're here for the price and scope. So you can create different packages for your service. For example, you have a starter package, standard, and advanced. So you're basically dividing the level of your service from basic to, let's say, a golden package, a premium package. For example, for starter, I can be like basic mockups with just basic mockup, or it can be like mockup, so there's only one with just logo. Standard, I can write 3 mockups with special effects. Advanced, I can write animated mockups. Just animated mockups. So you can see it's going from a very basic thing to a really a different type of mockup, because this is animated. Here we're getting special effects, and here we're just getting it with the logo. So the client could just choose between my packages and see which one fits them best. You can give a custom description. Your logo placed on objects of your choice. So they can be like, I want my logo on a mug, I want it on a billboard. They can choose it. But with special effects, let's choose here on basic objects. Your logo on special objects with additional effects. All right, and then animated. The mockups are animated for a cooler look. These are just examples, but obviously the person who's going to get the advanced package is going to get some animation for their mockups, and maybe that's what they're looking for. But if they're not looking for animations and they don't want to pay extra for it, then they can just go for my starter pack. So instead of skipping me and going for another person who has a basic mockup service, they can just go for my starter pack. So I'm giving them 3 options. But if you don't have 3 options for your service, you can just turn this off and offer 1 package. So you don't have to provide 3 packages, but it does help because the client can just stick with you if they want something different instead of going to another freelancer. Let's come down to delivery days. This is the number of days that it takes you to deliver this package. I will go for 2 days because this is just really simple. 2 days, standard, because it's additional effects, I'll make it 4. And animated will obviously take longer, so this one would be 6. Number of images, you want to tell them how many end results you're going to give the client. For the starter, we said 1, so let's put it right here. You can also make this 1. Standard with these special effects, let's say 3. Animated mockups, let's say 4. Number of revisions, this is how many times you're going to allow the clients to ask for a change. For example, you kept the logo on the mockup, but they're like, oh, could you make this part red? Then that counts as a revision that the client is asking from you. So you can either allow that revision or not allow it. For the starter pack, I could put 0 revisions, but maybe I can provide revisions for these two because clients are usually looking for revisions. Maybe they changed their mind and they want to do something differently. So for standard, I would put 2. For advanced, I'll put like 3. Let's scroll down, and then we have service tier options. So basically, with my type of work where I'm working with Photoshop, I can give some additional options. For example, source file is the project file, which in my case, if I'm using Photoshop, would be the PSD file, Photoshop document. And I could allow whether I give that to the client so they can go in Photoshop, work with the layers, and change it up themselves. You can allow such a thing by checking these boxes. Usually you'd want to put this for like the higher packages, so they would go for that package. I'm going to put it for these two. High resolution, you can choose whether you want to give them a very high quality image, or you could just uncheck this and give them a basic image. So high resolution, I'll keep it for these two because I'm putting these special effects here and I'm animating these. So I would just make sure I'm giving them high resolution footage. And then we have commercial use, which is when you're allowing this person to take your work and use it to promote their brand. So they could use it on their product, on their services, website, and all that. You can allow that, but if you'd want to keep that work exclusive, then you can just not check this. You can see you will provide commercial use services, which is when a creative work is used to promote a product, service, brand, or company. You could turn this on if you'd want. I would check all of these. This is my preference, but you could just uncheck them. These are meant for you to allow or not allow. Finally, we have the project price. So for all of these starter options, how much will I be taking? So let's say I will start with $5 because this starter pack, I'm not doing much. I'm just putting one logo on one mockup. So $5 for this special effects. $10. Animations, let's go for 40. Keep in mind that a portion of these will go to Upwork, so choose your price based on that fact. Try to choose something that is reasonable. So for a really basic pack where they're not getting that much, I cannot put $50 because they're not getting anything from this starter pack except one image. So you'd want to make sure to look at this from the client's perspective as well. If you were going for a freelancer yourself and you'd want one mock-up of your logo, how much would you be willing to pay? So $5 is pretty reasonable for me at least. And personally, if the person was asking for $50 for one image, I would just not go for that freelancer. So you want to put yourself in both the freelancer's shoe and the client's shoe and base your prices off of that. And if you're not sure how much you should put, then you can always search logo mockup price. I can come over here and you can see $2 to $7. And from the internet, I could just make up how much I should be putting my service. So I can put $5 for this one mockup since the internet said $5 to $7. Now let's go for choose add-ons. Now you can put these check marks next to your project catalog. So fast delivery, if it's possible for you, you can turn that on. And basically the client can add this fast delivery check mark next to the order and ask you for the standard package that, hey, I cannot wait for 4 days. I'm willing to pay you extra. Could you make it work in like 2 days? So you're going to give them that option to speed up, for you to speed up their project and get more money in return. So for my standard pack where I said 4 days, I can make this 2 days and instead take an extra let's say $8. For advanced, where I said 6 days, I can make it to 4 days and take an extra $12. You're just giving them that option. They can choose this if they want. Additional images, if maybe these numbers were too low for the client, you're giving them the option to add and ask for more images. So for an extra, let's say $10 and an additional, let's say 2 days, I would give you one extra media from my packages. Additional revision, you're going to add to the amount for the revisions right here. That's optional. You could just not check this. Source file, if they wanted, let's say, the starter package and I didn't give them the source file option, they can pay an extra, let's go in here, an extra $5 and 2 days for me to give them a source file, which you don't really need days for that. So just for an additional $5. Then we have high resolution, which you could add if you'd want, for an extra $6 and 1 day. You can also create your own custom add-ons if you're not seeing the things you want. Maybe custom color change. So they could ask me to change their logo's color when I'm doing the mockups. This is optional. I will change the color of your logo to match a certain mockup for an extra $5 and 1 day. Add as many as you'd want, remove them if you're not happy with them, and then save and continue to move on to the next slide. So this is the project gallery. In the next part, we're going to fill that up and see how we can finish up this project catalog and post it on our Upwork profile. I'll see you guys in the next lesson.